How to determine self-worth. Welcome to the School of Self-Worth Live. I'm Sam Osborne, the Self-Worth Guy. And today we're talking about how you can determine your self-worth. And if there's one thing I want you to remember from this episode, it is prepare yourself for self-worth. Prepare yourself for self-worth, and you are going to be able to determine self-worth. Now, before I go into it, just quickly, determine in the sense here is that I want it to mean to cause self-worth rather than what necessarily do you need to do, although we're going to go into that. But I mean, how do you cause self-worth to happen? And I'm going to talk about three things here that you can do to prepare for self-worth. Number one is you can define your benchmark for self-worth. Number two is to make a list. And number three is to make a promise. Let's go through those three things. Number one, first of all, you got to define your benchmark for self-worth. What does it mean to you? What do you precisely mean when you say self-worth? Because everyone's going to have a slightly different definition, but it's great to know what yours is, right? So how are you going to feel when you have the self-worth that you wish to have? What will the self-worth allow you to do with your everyday life? How will it make you think? How will it make you act? Will there be more joy in your life? Will there be more confidence in your life? Start to think about personality traits that you would like to develop that when you get self-worth, or as a cause of having self-worth. And this definition process, by actually writing it down on a piece of paper, is probably the first way to prepare for self-worth. It's kind of the planning stage. It's saying, okay, if I'm serious about this, what does it look like at the height? What do I feel like when I have all the self-worth I could possibly have? And by doing this defining process, you might say, well, I don't actually want to be totally like amazingly high self-worth, because you might think, okay, that's probably a bit too much. You might be a low-key person who says, I just want to have enough self-worth to just cruise along through life and have a good time. Other people might say, I want all the self-worth that I could possibly get because I want to reach my potential. So depending on your personality, you've got to define and tweak your benchmark for self-worth. I think that's the best place you can start. For example, you might say, I want to have, or self-worth to me means that I will have the confidence to go for the job that I want. It might mean self-worth for me means that I can walk up to strangers and introduce myself, no problem. It might be, I want to have the confidence and the self-worth to be able to step outside my comfort zone, maybe travel the world, maybe start a new business, maybe ask out that special someone you've had your eye on for a while. Okay, so whatever it is, define that. Number two, make a list. Make a daily to-do list of the things that you believe you need to do in order to reach that benchmark. So this is where you get to the nitty-gritty of how to determine self-worth, how to prepare for it. Well, you need a list. You need a little map, if you like, a little to-do list, a shopping list. Okay, if I want to have the confidence to be able to travel the world, what am I going to need to know? Well, I'm going to need to know about where I'm going. Maybe there's another language I need to learn. Do I have my finances in order? Do I have my health in order? Although it's a little bit tricky to travel right now with COVID restrictions around the world, but you can still plan for these things. Maybe you need to make a list for your health. Think, okay, what do I need? What do I need? Okay, so make a list of the things that you think you would need to reach your self-worth benchmark. Number three is to make a promise. Make a promise to yourself. Now, sometimes making a promise to yourself doesn't work because we think, if I break the promise, nobody's going to know, right? So a lot of people recommend you make a promise to someone you know, someone you trust, and someone will hold you accountable. That's great. So you might have a accountability buddy. You might have a coach. You might have a mentor. You might have a friend, a spouse, whatever it is. So you could make a promise to someone else. The best way I've found to make promises is to post it online publicly to social media and say, everybody hold me accountable to this. And all of a sudden it kind of, I think it's using fear in our advantage to say, all right, everybody, I'm going to do this thing. I'm making a promise to build my self-worth or to achieve this goal. and I want everybody to cheer me on or give me an encouraging kick up the butt if I need it. All right. So make a promise either to yourself, to others, or to the entire world. And I think that's going to definitely help you prepare for self-worth. It's going to help you to determine self-worth, that it actually happens in the future. All right, let's summarize. So if you want to determine self-worth, you need to prepare for self-worth. And you can do that in 3 ways. Number 1, you can define your benchmark for self-worth. Number 2 is you can make a list. And number 3 is you can make a promise. So if you've loved this episode, I've got a free gift for you. It's called Crush Imposter Syndrome Forever, the starter kit for bulletproof confidence. And you can get it at the links above on Facebook and LinkedIn, or below on YouTube, or in the description on Spotify. And I invite you to join the School of Self-Worth Facebook group. That's the best place to get hold of me. And if you remember one thing from this video, it's prepare for self-worth. And that is how you determine self-worth. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow.